Conducting interviews leaving you frustrated? Don't know the type of questions to ask during an interview? Well, you're in luck. Hi, my name is James, and I would like to welcome you to Interviewing 101, an HR explainer video. Now, before we jump into interviews themselves, we first must ask ourselves, why do we interview potential hires? It's mainly because it's a part of the selection process, which is the process of choosing the best possible applicant who is recruited for a given job according to Lucier and Hendon. Keep in mind that interviewing should not be used to determine if a candidate is best fit for the company, as it is one step in the selection process. However, most companies require them because it's traditional to interview a candidate before hiring. With that being said, the three types of interviews you can have consist of structured, semi-structured, and unstructured. Structured interviews are interviews where all the candidates are asked the same questions. Semi-structured are interviews where the interviewer follows a list of questions and topics but asks unplanned ones as well. And unstructured interviews are when the interviewer uses no pre-planned questions or sequence topics. Now that you know that unstructured interviews are a thing, you might be asking yourself, why can't we conduct unstructured interviews all the time to avoid the hassle of making questions? Well, according to Lucier and Hendon, some studies show that unstructured interviews can have a negative effect on picking employees and their ability to perform. It also opens you up to receive discrimination claims due to interview bias or unfair evaluation. Now that you know that you will need pre-planned questions, here are the types. You have closed-ended questions which can be answered with a yes or no. You have open-ended, which requires a detailed answer. You have hypothetical, which requires the candidate to describe their actions in a specific situation. And finally, probing, which are used whenever the interview needs clarification. Closed-ended questions are good for asking about specific job qualifications. Open are good for determining the candidate's distinguishable qualities. Hypothetical are good for assessing capability. And probing are good for improving your understanding as an interviewer. The next question you might be asking yourself is, what type of questions should I use? Well, that depends on the job description of the position that you wish to fill and the organizational structure of the company. However, that doesn't mean that you can or should ask any question. Questions about marital status, sexual preference, or any other information that does not affect the candidate's performance on the job are generally risky and oftentimes not okay to ask during an interview. To make sure that your interview questions are safe, compare them to your state interview laws because they may vary depending on where you live. Now to recap, what should you have or know before an interview? You should have the job description of the position, knowledge of a typical workday for the position, the type of interview it will be, the type of questions you will be asking, something to record your answers with, and finally, questions for each candidate. Now go out and have some great interviews.